This is Hops and Spirits Bar Conversations. Come for the craft beer, bourbon, whiskey, and great drinks. Stay for the conversations. Here's your host, Jonathan Green.
Welcome into another edition of the Bar Conversations. It's another fun one. We go with tasting notes and on the interesting side of synthetic corks and things like that as we talk with Chad Watson, our whiskey guru, on tasting notes. Then as we go to the Bar Conversations, we talk with Joey Greer as he's hitting the links on the golf course. We'll see if he's doing it well or not so well, but I know what he is doing well, and that's putting out some new music. Since we chatted, he dropped a new single, Good Years. It's a fun conversation. He's a blast, and Chad is a blast as well, as we learned, like I said, about corks, whether are we going synthetic, the old school cork, or just something else all crazy that is. It's a fun show. Let's not waste any more time and get to it.
It's almost time. Where did I put those? Here they are. It's time for tasting notes.
Welcome into another Tasting Notes, and because I'm just tired of saying this over and over again, we were joined again by my whiskey guy, Chad Watson, a.k.a. My Daily Bourbon. Chad, welcome in.
Hey, I appreciate you having me, Jonathan. Thank you so much.
I had to kind of mix it up and just see if I could throw you off. You've got a long title. You do a lot of different things. You're part of the Bourbon Life crew. You also do some writing as well. You need to check him out on Instagram because you got a lot of fun things up there as well. But I had to have a little fun with you. And in between, recordings here, we were talking about something, and it kind of drove me crazy, and I'm glad it made me feel not like an idiot. But we're talking about corks, and should people care about the cork that is in their bottle, and what do you think of some of the different varieties? So first off, should people care?
I don't think so. It really doesn't bother me what type of cork it is, except for one type of cork, which we will discuss here in a minute. You've got your standard natural cork switches here, which of course comes from a cork tree. You can see the pores in it. It breathes. You can't let the alcohol sit and touch it over time if you leave a bottle sitting sideways because it'll eat the cork away and have cork rot, yada yada. Then you have synthetic cork, which is made of a synthetic type material that is kind of almost a rubber that blocks and seals it. Some people try and say that they can taste the difference between synthetic and actual. I can't. If they can, hell yeah. But honestly, I feel like it'd probably be better to move to synthetic. Because I don't know how hard it is to grow a cork tree. I mean, I'm sure it's not cheap, but I know a lot of corks can come from a cork tree at one time of harvesting. But I also don't know the impact of the synthetic cork. So I mean, it's are you robbing Peter to pay Paul type of deal? But I wouldn't be worried if you get a bottle that used to be a natural cork and is now synthetic, or vice versa. But that's just my personal take on it.
Well, and I was going to say, I mean, at the end of the day, is there really a difference per se on maybe what might happen to the bourbon outside of maybe you might taste it?
Unless the cork falls into the bourbon, probably are not going to taste it. I mean, with a natural cork, it is porous, so air will seep in through that seal. Of course, with every bottle you have, there's that little gap right there. It doesn't perfectly suction. With synthetic corks, though, you can almost guarantee a better seal on it, and that's probably the biggest difference that I could say. So if you want something to set for a longer period of time, or you open a bottle and want to reseal it without air leaching in, put a synthetic cork in there. It wouldn't hurt to have a few around, and you can order some on Amazon for I think $5 for 200.
just a couple there.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I've seen them on there, and it's not expensive.
Well, and I was going to say, how important is it too to also just keep a few corks around, and different maybe shapes and sizes, because as we all know, not every bottle is exactly the same. To have a few extra around, because corks, as you can imagine, things can happen to them.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's extremely important for. I even keep some. Excuse me. I even keep some of the wine corks around. Because sometimes you have bourbon bottles that, like you said, they're all different shapes and sizes. None of them are made the same. What fits in a rare breed bottle may not fit in a Buffalo Trace bottle. But if you've got some old used wine corks, rinse them off with water, let them dry. You can usually squeeze those back in there. now they're not a long term solution, but it'll get you through until the bottle's gone. Which for the most part, that's really all you need.
And now the moment of truth. What is the one cork that you and I both dislike and weren't sure if we were doing something wrong with a bottle?
That would be glass corks, Jonathan. Glass corks.
I'm not going to show off whose it is, but if you're watching, this thing drove me nuts because I couldn't get it. I'm not going to say it because you could take it a whole lot of different wrong ways. But this thing, I thought I was going to break a bottle, and I was not very, very happy with it. And I felt like an idiot at the end of the day. I was gonna say, I mean, why? It's so weird too to see someone kind of almost put out a glass cork, especially nowadays. As we talked on our last tasting notes, there's a shortage. So it's kind of weird. It
is, and it could be minuscule. It could be something that's there's already so many made. Maybe that really doesn't matter. I mean, because 20 years ago there could have been usually I see a lot of glass corks in rosé wine, so it could have been someone who's just that manufacturer who's like, hell yeah, this person's going to buy 5 million corks from me, and they only buy 1 million. So then they got to sell off that other 4 or something. Could be that, but if they're buying new glass corks every quarter or pre-planning for every fiscal year, that's stupid. There's a glass shortage right now. They suck. They're dangerous. It's a safety hazard. Just go with synthetic or natural cork. Make it easy. Make it easy on the consumer.
I was going to say, for me, I thought I was going to either punch somebody or spill it all over myself because you're trying so hard. For you ended up using a knife to get your bottle open, correct?
Yeah, I used a butter knife, and then the knife was bending as I was trying to open it because it was so suctioned in there. And then when I finally got it, went and just, it didn't fly far. It hit the cabinet, but still, it could have been someone's eye.
So at the end of the day, avoid glass corks, and then with the others, I guess at the end of the day, it's a personal preference on anything but glass, correct?
Yeah, correct.
I like that, and I think we may have solved a debate, or at least started one on glass corks versus synthetic. And
I hope we started one.
So, Chad, I appreciate it as always, and this is a blast, and thanks for coming on.
Hey, appreciate you having me, man. Love it. Thank you so much.
Remember to check out Hops and Spirits on social media at Hop Spirits, all one word, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also find Hops and Spirits on YouTube and at hopspirits.com.
Joining us here on the Bar Conversations is country musician Joey Greer. He's live on the golf course as we're doing this. Joey, what's up?
Oh, not much, man. Just trying to find my golf balls, actually, after drinking some of these Miller Lights.
I was going to ask you what you're drinking, but I think you answered that already. I decided to go a little stronger, a little whiskey, a little Dickel bottled and bond, a little Blue Label.
Come on, I like that Dickel, brother. That Dickel's good stuff.
I know it. It's the bottled and bond from Spring 07. I really love the Blue Label, so I can't say anything bad about it. Now, I'm guessing your golf game, though, if you're looking for golf balls, you could probably say maybe a bad thing or two about it today.
Man, honestly, if it wasn't for me, I think this team would be sinking. I said that loud enough they can hear me. No, honestly, I'm playing terrible today. So, the golf game is not doing well. That's why I'm going to do this with you right now and let them finish out the round. We've got one hole left. But, yeah, man, it's not going great. Not going great at all.
Well, sometimes that happens. I was going to say, so, is that something you do just to have a little fun? Is it hit the golf course? What are some of those things you do for fun?
So, golfing, definitely. I like to actually draw and paint in my free time. And most of the time, though, I like to be outside. So I'm either golfing or doing something outside, fishing, hunting, anything along those lines is pretty much what I do anytime I have free time, which here lately hasn't been much. I've been on the road for 7 weeks now, so it's been a lot.
Now, I got to ask, how good is your golf game?
Okay, so I'm about a 20 handicap.
Okay.
Yeah, my best game is an 84, and that's not cheating because I like to kick it out. I like to use my foot wedge every now and then.
Hey, that is a well-earned club. When I taught my wife that the first time she played, she was like, wait, you can do that? And I go, kind of.
You can do it as long as you want, yeah. So, basically, the foot wedge is my best club, and y'all, I ain't gonna hit nothing. Y'all go ahead. Uh, y'all need it? Okay. Well, I'm gonna hit for him real quick. But yeah, so my foot wedge is definitely my best club in my bag, and I wish it wasn't, but it's where we ended up. Can you turn that
You
music down
know,
for me?
it happens. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm just happy when I get out on a golf course these days. I think I've only gotten out once this year, although it went well.
We
I
just
will
have
say
one.
it
We
went
just
well
have
for
one
me.
lip out. I'm sorry. Let me walk away real quick.
So they need you to make a putt. Is that what we're here?
Well,
Is this
actually, what I'm gonna
for
do,
the tournament?
they're just gonna have to figure it out from now. But yeah, brother, I wish I could play a lot better than I do, but that's pretty much what I do for fun is hang out on the golf course, hang out on the lake, hang out on the duck blind. You know how it goes.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, it looked like you enjoy the outdoors. Do you get downtime enough anymore? I mean, you said you're on tour for a while, but I mean, I'm guessing there has to be some downtime where you get to go hunting or fishing or just maybe enjoy a relaxing day.
Yeah, man. The honestly the downtime hasn't been there lately. So I haven't got to do the things that I normally like to do and have fun with, but um, normally I have time to do whatever I want. But I guess that means that things are happening the way they're supposed to happen, and I'm doing what I need to do. But yeah, I don't really have time right now, other than like during the week. But most of the time during the week, all of my friends are at work, and I don't really have anybody to go do anything with. So I just kind of write songs and paint pictures and do stuff like that in my apartment, which kind of gets old. So I mean, yeah, there's not a whole lot of time for extracurriculars that aren't alone. Yeah.
I understand. Hey, you can go golfing though. You can just join up with a random group and have a little fun.
So the problem with that is I'm learning some things about me here lately that I don't like talking to people when I'm not entertaining them, which is weird, right?
Ah,
That's weird, but artists are weird, bro. Like I'm learning a lot about me as an artist and as a person as I go through life, and that's one thing that's really been shocking to me is like, dude, I really don't like to go out of my shell with people a lot of times. So it's kind of a different thing, but I mean, it's cool to learn things about yourself.
oh, absolutely. I was gonna say you talk about being on tour, and I gotta ask. So you have an old school bus as kind of your tour bus, what gets you around, and you call it Miss Frizzle. What's that like, and why? I mean, I kind of know why, but why?
So it's kind of the coolest thing I've ever got to do. Um, it's the smartest, most functional financial move I've ever made, and I call it Miss Frizzle because I grew up on this thing called the Magic School Bus, and the Magic School Bus is a old cartoon that basically was a magic school bus, and they went on all these adventures and everything, and so when I got this sped bus, which is a short bus, I had no choice but to name it Miss Frizzle, and it kind of turned into like a really marketable thing, and it's perfect for me and who I am because like I don't know, there's a marketability to a short bus, and there's a personality to a short bus that makes it like lighthearted and fun, and people enjoy it. And like when I got it, I was going, man, this is just kind of an in between thing. Like I'm waiting on my next vehicle, and it ended up being something like super sustainable, super functional, and it gets us from point A to point B. But it's also kind of cool, man. It's cool. It's like with the camaraderie of it, like getting to be with the band on runs, and yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to it that I never imagined like a short bus would be able to do for us. But it's cool, man. It's cool.
I was gonna say, I'm sure your adventures are slightly different than the Magic School Bus on TV. And
Slightly different is a little bit of what's the word? Yeah, I feel like that's not the right word for it, but yeah, slightly different is it does fit.
Did you kind of keep the interior the same, or did you kind of make it a little nicer? What did you do any extra work to it?
So right now, the only extra work we've done is take out some seats in the back so we don't have to pull a trailer. And I've tinted the windows to where they're limo tinted so people can't see inside. And other than that, like I just kind of leave it school bus. I mean, like I was gonna put some couches and stuff in there, but it kind of doesn't really have any. It doesn't really matter right now because in the next step of my career, it's like, well, I won't need a souped out school bus. So I'm going. I'm just gonna leave it the same, save some money, and I mean, it just works out like that. But on top of that, uh, it's kind of cool to be rolling around in a school bus. It's even cool for the band too. Like that, everybody gets the that old vibe, and it's fun to like think about. It's fun to be in that predicament, and yeah, I don't know. We're probably not going to do anything else other than just tint it right now. And I'm going to let y'all watch me try and hit this par 3 real quick.
All right, let's see how it goes.
We need him right here. He's our ringer.
Uh-oh. Well, that could be bad. If he's your ringer, you guys might be in trouble. That's all I'm going to say. I say that nicely.
Oh, it's looking beautiful. That's why I brought him out here. Back to it.
Way under it. But yeah, so
I was going to say, that sounded a wee bit heavy. That's all I'm going to say.
But yeah, back to the school bus. We haven't really done any renovation other than tinting it, and I think that's probably where we're going to leave it at the moment. But it's still so much fun, dude. It's like
takes you back, right?
It takes you back. It makes you feel like a kid, and I think that's a lot what music does anyway. It takes you back, and so it just like it makes it all worth it, dude. It's the best decision I've ever made in my music career is buying that bus. I'm excited about it.
No, I was gonna say, going back, thinking back to kind of when you first got into music, you grew up in a musical family, and going to church, and your family big into church. I mean, how was that like? Because I mean, you basically around music all your life for the most part.
Who I am as a person, as a musician, as an artist, has come from my family and come from like leading worship growing up, and it's kind of a little bittersweet to go to church now to think about like this is where I was, this is where I am now, and this is why I am who I am. And my parents were both very musical people. They led worship until I was 14 years old. I'm one of 5 kids, and every single one of us play like a musical instrument or sing to some extent. So it's it almost feels like a genetically imposed type thing. Like this is what I was born to do. Now, the church aspect of it is a different thing, but I won't go down that rabbit hole. But it's like I started leading worship so early, and I saw the church aspect, and it really taught me how to be a musician. And to use the word performer in church, it's not necessarily correct, but that's kind of where I learned how to be who I am.
And then, obviously growing up in Texas, I'm guessing that had to have a big impact on you all around. What did being growing up in the Lone Star State do for you?
Man, so I think that had more to do with my music than anything else, because it taught me how to be like prideful of where I'm from, but not haughty and not rude or condescending, but being from the Lone Star State is like I call it the Alamo culture. It's like no matter what, against all odds, you're always going to be a Texan. You're always going to be that person. And there's some pride to it. There's some excitement to it. And I think that right there is like the biggest driving factor behind who I am as an artist is like that Alamo culture. And I love it. It's so much fun.
Well, I mean, what music did you grow up on? I mean, was it Texas country, or was it just country in general, or were there artists outside of that just influenced you and the music that you make today?
So growing up, I was actually only exposed to Christian music. So I had to. I grew up on guys like Toby Mac, Third Day. Mac Powell from Third Day actually was influenced by Leonard Skinner, and I think it's kind of funny and cool to look back at those influences, and get that like insightful information. But I would say that Toby Mac, Mac Powell with Third Day, groups like Hawk Nelson, these Christian groups, early on in my career or early on in my life, that those guys really shaped me. And then on into the next chapter, when I started growing up and I got to like really choose who I wanted to listen to, it became guys like Hank Williams Jr. He had probably the most impact on who I am as an artist out of anybody. And guys like Evan Felker with the Turnpike Troubadours, and just that lyrical genius, as I like to call it, because that's what I feel like they are, really kind of opened me up to a certain standard that, like, I don't want to write songs that aren't to that par. To that, I'm playing golf right now, so to that par. Yeah, I don't want to write anything that's a bogey to Evan Felker. You know what I mean? So it really changed some things up for me early on, to hear good songs and to hear stuff that it turned me on, like, not in a weird way, but like it turned me on to like going, oh my God, I have the ability to write a song that people say that about. And that's kind of what like my entire career is centered around. It's like wanting to make people feel a certain way about a song.
I mean, I was gonna say, I mean, how would you describe your style these days? I know that's kind of a weird question to get asked because it's your own personal thing, but you kind of bring a uniqueness to it all.
Yeah, I really do think that my own style is something you can't really describe using other artists, and that was something that when I started my career doing country music, I told myself I wanted to be something that nobody could say, oh, he sounds like this. I don't want to be anybody else. Excuse me. I don't want to be anybody else. And I think we've accomplished that with the sonics things that we've done, with the lyrics that we've done, with just the overall vibes of the music. And I think if I was to describe like who I am as an artist right now, it would be Joey Greer. And that's always what I've wanted to do. Is I don't want to copy anybody. Not saying they haven't done it right. Not saying that they haven't changed the industry in ways that I would like to replicate, but it's cool to sit back at the end of the day and know there's nobody in this industry that me personally I could say I fed off of. Like I copied, or
You are yourself.
Yeah.
You're yourself. You're true to yourself, and that's I feel like that's got to be hard in some instances because, I mean, to break into this thing, it's not easy.
No, man, it's not, but it's the most rewarding and cool. It's the coolest thing I've ever done. Is just to be able to put out music that people want to listen to. First off, and second off, like, it's what I want to do in general. Like it's the most rewarding. It's the most I'm looking for the word right now. It's satisfying. It's just so. It's just there, and I love every second of what I get to do, man.
I was gonna say you got to drop your debut album at the start of 2020. What was that year like for you? Because I feel like you were set up for all sorts of things, and then things that happened and everything shut down. What was that year like for you?
It was very difficult to a point where I almost gave up on my music dreams and who I wanted to be. I almost just gave up on it because it was so difficult, and putting out an album that I'd saved up for and now all of a sudden I can't tour with it. Now all of a sudden people are telling me I can't go play shows. I can't play this. I can't do that. I can't do this. I can't do that. Oh, well, we're only going to allow 50% capacity, but they're going to have to sit at tables. It was such a demoralizing thing. It almost knocked me out, and it knocked out a lot of my friends. It knocked out a lot of the guys that I grew up in this industry with. But thank God, I had a sales job at the time that really provided and that really changed some things up for me, and we got through it.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say, I mean, you got through it, and then you were still able to put out some new music. I feel like the song that I think of that stands out from kind of some of those post album releases was Outlaw Angel,
Yeah.
which I love. What was that song like for you? How did it come about, and what did it kind of do for you?
Well, so that song was actually the first song I ever wrote with my new producer, Trent Willman. And he really mentored me into that song because at first I didn't like it. I was like saying I didn't want to record it because it was the first song we did. I didn't want to stop short of anything. And when we sat down with Aaron Schertz, and it was me, Trent Willman, and Aaron Schertz, we wrote that song together. And as soon as we wrote it, Trent was really crazy about it. Which Trent Willman is a big name in Nashville. He's Cody Johnson's producer, and he's done a lot of other stuff. Written with some of the biggest names in the town and country music in general. But when he said he liked it, I trusted him. And as soon as we put it out, man, it just blew up, and it's at 1.2 million streams on Spotify already, and that's been only not even 5 months. So it's pretty neat.
I mean, you know, when you're writing songs, co-writing songs, I mean, what's that like for you? What's that process like for you? Are you pulling from ideas? Are you? I've talked to some where they're like, I say what I did, and that's kind of what I did. And if I'm in a small town, that could be weird. I mean, what how do you go about that, and where does that inspiration come from?
Most of my inspiration comes from knowing what people want to hear, and that might sound weird. But I haven't lived most of the songs I've written. I haven't lived. I just have these ideas. I think they're cool hooks, and then I bring them to guys like Trent Willman, Aaron Schertz, Jeremy Spillman, Tommy Carlos, guys that wrote on this album with me. I bring these ideas to them, and they expand upon them because they're brilliant songwriters. So a lot of times I just bring things that I know people are going to relate to, and I bring them to these songwriters that are smarter than me. And it ends up being a really cool room because I give them ideas they haven't thought about, and they expand upon them. But yeah, that's pretty much the songwriting process for me. It's like almost faking it till you make it. But not just that. There are times that I use my personal experiences, and those are normally the better songs because they're more dramatic and they're more emotionally intact than other songs. But yeah, for the most part, it's just kind of, here's an idea I feel like people would like, and you kind of run with it.
Nothing wrong with that, and I like the idea of I take it to the guys that I know, like you know, you're not the smartest man in the room sometimes, and you let them do some work for you, and it turns out great. And you know, I feel like nowadays, you know, you're on TikTok, you got a huge following there, social media. What's it like nowadays with that kind of stuff, and then sharing songs that way and getting almost instant feedback?
Man, it's so weird. And honestly, TikTok is the biggest help and the biggest hindrance in my career right now because I'll put a song out acoustic that I haven't recorded. And I have to be very careful about that because if I put a song out and people love it, now I'm obligated to go record it. And that's a very difficult situation for an up-and-coming artist because now I'm working with a very expensive producer. And I don't mean that. I probably shouldn't say that word, expensive producer, in a podcast. But Trent is worth every penny. I'm not saying that. But I can't just go record a song. I don't have the money for it. So when I put these songs out, if I'm not strategic about how I do it, it ends up being almost like a crowd displeaser. They get upset. They're like, when are you going to put this song out? I'm like, when I find the money for it. So it's been kind of like... I'm having to pick and choose my battles, and I have some songs right now in the pipeline that would wow my audience, but it's not time to put them out. And so it's kind of like, damn, I know they would love this song, but I have to wait and I have to be patient. And patience is the biggest uh, lesson I've had to learn here in the past few months is just be patient. Just let it happen. Let it happen how it's supposed to. God's going to do this thing the way he wants. And yeah, that's a TikTok and that social media following in a nutshell is like, it's awesome. And yeah, it can light a fire, but dang, it's so hard to pinpoint what that crowd wants to hear and when they want to hear it.
I mean, gonna say, I mean, being an independent guy, kind of doing things a lot on your own. I mean, how weird is that? Because people don't always realize that it's not like you can just go in the studio whenever you want and cut things and do things. I mean, you got to be, like you said, strategic.
Yeah, it's a little disheartening because part of you knows you'll never be able to please that audience to the point they want to be pleased. But I think also if you realize that, like, not everybody's Zach Bryan. You can't go record a 36 song album and put it out and everybody love it. Not everybody's like that. And especially me. I'm not like that. I can't just go do it. And I mean that as praise to Zach Bryan and guys like that can write songs just boom, 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 and put them out. And it's a constant feedback. It's a little disheartening for guys like me that are like trying to figure their way out and record the right songs because I'm not there yet. I'm not to that level. But yeah, it's a tough spot, man.
Well, I mean, you have put out new music. You have been doing some work. I mean, your latest single, "Somewhere in the Sun." What's that one about? And can you talk about how that one came about?
Yeah, I wrote that one with Jeremy Spillman and Trent Willman. And when we wrote that song, I was like, man, I love the beach. I love the water. I want to write something that people can play on a boat. And so I had this riff that I started playing for Trent and Jeremy, and they were like, man, love that. Let's roll with it. So we went straight to it, and that song came out in like 45 minutes, man. It was just like so easy and so quick. And normally when songs do that means that's the right way to do it. That song hasn't done what we want it to yet, but hopefully we're going to be doing a music video here soon. And that music video will, like I said, hopefully give it that extra push. But Somewhere in the Sun is one of my favorites on the album, actually. And I can't wait for people to hear it in a broader fashion, at least.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, we're just now getting into the sunshine. I mean, here in Kentucky where I live, we had like snow a couple weeks ago, like and ice on the weekend, and now it's 88. So,
that's how it goes, man.
Very quickly.
That's how it goes.
I was going to ask, for the single cover on that, how much fun did you have in the kiddie pool and with all that?
Dude, honestly, so me, my manager, Jenna Heidemann, and my photographer, Brooke Stevens, we were like, what do we want to do for this album cover? We don't know what we want to do. Everything we've done up to this point has been branded a certain way that we couldn't brand it similarly. So we had to kind of step outside the box. And I said, I want flamingos and I want a kiddie pool. And these two girls got together and put up the perfect vibe for that entire album cover single. And man, it was freezing cold in that water, but I had so much fun. They got a disco ball in there they spun around, and it just ended up being really cool.
I mean, when you came to them with that idea, did they look at you sideways or go, okay, we can make that happen?
Definitely sideways at first, but I was like, hey, I'm about to buy a short bus. I want to be a little bit more not so serious. I want to be fun. I want to have fun with this and this single. I want to be different. And man, it encapsulated everything we wanted it to do. So I was very, very proud of the ladies on that one. Yeah.
I love that, and I love that that cover for the song. You're talking about it. You got some more songs coming, or at least you've been working on things. So, more music coming, singles, another album. What can you tell me that won't get you in trouble?
So I can tell you actually everything we've got coming right now, other than the next step because it hasn't been solidified. So the steps that have been solidified You have another 7 songs coming your way in the next 5 to 6 months. So what we're going to do is we're going to step those songs out single by single. And the next one's going to be Good Years, which I've already announced is going to be on May 20th. So we've got about 2-3 weeks, 2.5 weeks until Good Years comes out on May 20th. I'm very excited about that song. I wrote it with my buddy Joey Hollis and Justin Adams up in Nashville. But yeah, we've got some really great stuff. In fact, the first 3 songs that we put out, I'm kind of putting them out in order of like my favorite, how I feel about the songs. So to me, it's just going to keep getting better and better. Can't wait for you guys to hear this stuff, man. It's pretty life changing, pretty career changing stuff.
I love to hear that. And at the beginning, you were talking about you've been on the road a lot. 7 straight weeks, pretty much out and about, and living in the short bus. What's it like playing shows? Because it seems like you really do enjoy getting out and meeting people and playing and performing.
Man, playing shows is the highlight of my career. It's what I love to do. First off, second off, getting to see people that appreciate what I do in person, and having people sing back lyrics that I wrote 5 years ago and feel those lyrics is something. It's I can't really tell you what that means to me because there's no words. The English language doesn't have them. So, but yeah, that's what shows are like for me. It's the cherry on top of the career that I've created, and I'll never be able to stop doing it.
Well, I before I get to my last question, I got to ask this. I mean, clearly you love what you do with the music. Are you ever going to be able to hit the PGA Tour, though? That's what I want to know. You're on the golf course right now. Are you ever going to hit the tour?
Hey, I'm going to let Hayden answer that one. He's just been driving me around quietly.
I tell you what, Joey's been solid on the golf course. It's always a good time. The PGA is about 3 to 5 out. Honestly, I mean, hey, look, so we're dropping these albums. Everything's coming in line. The time's going to open up. He's going to put in the time.
It's all about the time and the work. And my boy Hayden right here, he's going to be the difference in that. So, yeah, the PGA is not far off, but we'll probably put that on pause for a little while.
Are we talking 3 to 5 months, 3 to 5 years? What are we talking about here?
3 to 5, probably light years, which I don't know if you're familiar with space and time, but 3 to 5 light years is a long freaking time. So yeah, that's probably where we're dealing with that.
Oh, I love that answer. I also enjoy it. Like I was thinking back when you're talking about having fun, having the flamingos, all that. I look at your shirt. If you're watching the episode, you can see it. If you're listening, you need to. I feel like, do you just like to stand out on the course? Is that your normal attire, or what goes on there?
Actually, I just bought this shirt, and I'm pretty pumped about it. So I love flamingos. I love palm trees, and this is a little mix of both because it's pink and palm trees. But no, I don't like to stand out on the course because I don't like people watching me swing.
It's not like you got a Charles Barkley swing. I mean, we saw the golf shot. It wasn't bad.
No, it's not a terrible swing, but the problem is it just never ends up where I want it to end up, man. So I played a little college baseball, and that really transferred to my golf swing. So I don't think I'm ever going to be what I want to be on this sport. So we'll leave that there so I don't get frustrated with it. But yeah.
I'll tell you what I tell my friends, because I grew up playing golf. I went to college for golf, all that good stuff. There's a reason golf's a 4-letter word. Just think about it like that. There's a reason golf's a 4-letter word.
That's right, dude. That is completely correct.
So, I've watched the guys, like, for the longest time. It took me forever. I played numerous times, like 5 days, like 7 days a week, all summer long. Never had a hole-in-one. I'm watching guys that shoot 99, 100, have like 15 hole-in-ones in their lifetime. I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
Dude, don't you knock them 99 100s now. Don't knock it.
I would never. So as we wrap this up, you can find him at joeygreer.com and on social media. Joey, anything else folks can expect from you in 2022 that you're allowed to tell me?
I think what you can expect from Joey Greer in 2022 is a lot more Spotify streams, a lot more podcasts that I do from my house and not from the golf course.
Although this has been fun.
This has been fun. Yeah, this has been fun. Don't let me knock it now. But also in 2022, you're going to see some things take off for me. I have no doubt where I'm going to end up in this industry is going to be very, very, very much fun for not only me but for my audience and for really just the whole country music fan base in general. Man, I've got some really great songs we're about to come out with. The short bus has been so much fun. It's been so much fun. I can't wait to.
If you haven't yet, you need a shirt about it. That's
in
all
fact,
I'm saying.
yeah, we're actually working on a short bus shirt right now,
There we go.
and that's kind of where I was going with it. 2022 is going to be the year of the shows for me. This is going to be the most fun and the most real shows you're going to get to see, because at the next step, there's going to be a separation between me as an artist and my fans. It's going to be tour buses. It's going to be bigger things. And right now what you're going to get is an intimate, real experience. And that's what 2022 is going to be. It's going to be an intimate, real, personal experience. And I can't wait to see you guys out on the road. I can't wait to let y'all get pictures on the short bus with me. And in the next step, you're going to be able to say, look at this picture of us on the short bus. And it's going to be really cool stuff, man. I'm excited.
Dude, I love that. I can't wait to see what's next for you. And Joey, this was a blast.
Well, man, hats off to you, Jonathan. I appreciate you having me on, and God bless you guys. We'll see you soon.